Hi, it's the Great Vanzini. Gosh, I've run on 6 minutes playing here, and you're going to get about 30 seconds of that because there's probably only 30 good seconds in there. Wow, I am pretty dim looking, it looks like to me. I am playing a made in Korea D'Esperanta or D'Esperanto. Almost all listings will show it as a D'Esperanta with an A on the end. And the reason for that is because when you look at the headstock, it's a D'Esperanta New Yorker. Try to lighten that up so we can see it. But on one blog or on a comment, somebody said, well, it does look like an A on the end, but if you look at the label, I've owned this for probably 10 years. If you look at the label inside, it very clearly says made by D'Esperanto. And it's designed after I'm told, according to some of the blogs, a D'Acquisto guitar made by Jimmy D'Acquisto, who was a person who worked with John D'Angelico and making guitars, and so it's designed after his design, I'm told. If it's not, I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I don't know enough about jazz guitars to know. The specs on this are really hard to find, in that they were produced by a doctor, and there's tons of internet lore out there. I'm going to lower that camera right now. Okay, a little better camera angle. I'm just getting I got a little tiny ring light over to my left, and it's really bright, so I'm not sure. I may have to brighten the picture up on this. It's a blonde, comes with a nice wooden tailpiece here. A lot of people complain about that. Fairly inexpensive, just like a rosewood bridge. Nothing fancy there. It works. The scale length looks like 24 3/4, and I don't know if it's the relief in the neck or how I have it, but the intonation's fine. It measures out at 24, and instead of 24.75, it's more like 24.78. So it's a little elongated on that. So it's a little bit odd for a jazz box in that it's got 22 frets. I think that's odd. I don't know, but a lot of jazz boxes, when we do scale lengths on rock and roll guitars, you know, they're 24 3/4 or they're 25 1/2 primarily, minus the 25, the Paul Reed Smith 25. And so with jazz boxes, they get really weird. They get like 23 1/2 inch scale with 20 frets and stuff like that. So this does appear to be real close to 24 3/4 with 22 frets, which is odd. I don't really care on a jazz box. What I care a little bit about here is how much I have to spread. I don't play anything like that on a jazz box usually, and I don't play up real high up here on it. Anyway, I mean, I do mostly traditional standards, you know. So I play mostly down here on most of the time. Once in a while I'll get up to the octave, and that's about it. The neck is a little bit, it's a pretty thin neck. It feels really good, and it feels like a C profile. It's very perfectly rounded, and it's not too thick from front to back. So that's it. So where were these made? Well, they were ordered, special ordered to specs from a doctor. And you read the internet blogs, or you used to read them. I couldn't find any this time, hardly at all, except for one in like Belgium or somewhere. And you used to read the blogs, and they were hand ordered, specifically ordered out of Korea by a doctor in the Midwest. No, a doctor in Florida. He's in Florida. No, he's in California, and I think I even heard like New Mexico or Texas or something like that. The good doctor finally sold out his remaining stock on eBay, and so I figured out who he was. And I'm not going to out him here because I'm assuming he maybe wants his... I've never heard anything about him coming forward and wanting to be interviewed or anything, so we will keep his privacy. But he was a chiropractor somewhere in California, and according to some things I read, he ordered the first year he had 75 made, and the second year around 150, and then the third year it was, I read 75 and 150. Then I read on Doc Dosco's site that he had them batched out just at 25 at a time. When he ran out, he got another 25. It's very unclear how many of these are floating around. They show up on eBay and on Reverb off and on, and they might even show up in Sunburst. I don't recall now. It's been a long time since I've seen anything like that. Almost all of them I've seen for sale are maple like this. They're all fully laminate tops and sides from what I'm told, although when I get in there and feel around, I mean, it's a pretty darn good laminate. It could be a solid top and I wouldn't know it. There's I think a Lawrence pickup, but I'm not sure. It could be something else. Floating pickup. And floating pickups are really interesting in that they're kind of the in thing now. A lot of jazz boxes, I suspect they're the in thing partially because they simply screw them in at the top of the neck and they float above everything, the body, so they're not touching the body. And the idea is that it offers, I'm going to turn everything down, it offers a more acoustic tone. And it does. We're going to have to start over. I don't have a microphone. So I just realized I hadn't plugged a microphone in and I was just going straight to camera. And I doubt this is much better, but maybe a little better. So hopefully I'll check it over and balance out the levels later. So we're looking at a D Esperanta. It was hand ordered from a doctor in California, 25 pieces at a time, or 75 pieces the first year and 150 the second. Nobody knows how many are out there. And so it's a D Esperanta, but one guy in one comment said if you look at the label inside, got my flashlight here, and if you look at the label inside, it's clearly labeled as a D Esperanto. And so you see the label with the same scrolly D Esperanta on the headstock in here, but then down below it says another fine import by D Esperanto with an O, Los Angeles, California. Well, and that's the giveaway that maybe whoever had these ordered is from California. And so that's it. You can see I have a price tag on the pick guard, and I was selling off guitars at a guitar show years ago and had it on there, and this one didn't sell. And I had it at a really good price at the time. I would not sell it for, I've learned to love it. I would not sell it for that much now. I would sell it for much more. Acoustically, it sounds great. I'm just gonna... It sounds great. So I don't know what else to report on it other than it's really a lovely guitar. It's made to be an inexpensive, 15 years ago it was much harder to find inexpensive archtop guitars if you wanted to play jazz. I think it was more than 15 years ago maybe. I think it was maybe more that they came out. But we'll show you the back here. It's really, as laminates go, it's pretty wild. It's pretty nice. And that's just a veneer probably on there, I'm guessing, but it's got such a marbly look about it. It's just cool. And somehow I've managed to not ever scratch this one, so I've done pretty good. The mother of pearl inlays are probably not mother of pearl, but boy, are they ornate. They look like some sort of actual pearl shell or something. And I don't know if I'm going to get it in the light or not. Try to reflect it and see if I can. Hopefully that shows up a little bit, but they're really beautiful. They're really just beautiful, and I'm sure it's mother of pearloid, perhaps, you know, so. I've got 11 to, I don't know what they are. I used to play 12s for jazz, and then with my arthritis, that got to be, I've gone down to 11s. I'm ready to go down to, I don't know if they make 10.5s or something like that. Just a single volume knob, no tone. No tone here at all. All the tone you do through your amp. And I'm playing through an E band. And the E band has lots of ability to go in and change it. You got to go into the menu system though and do it. Still have not cleaned the tools off my desk and everything. It's a D'Esperanta, or a D'Esperanto. It does have Grover, I think these are called Imperial tuners. These are like, if you look at the modern day D'Angelicos, and you look at even the old ones, they had that weird headstock with that thing. I'm not real fond of that, but it's very traditional, so I have kind of like respect for that. I understand that. And I see my focusing is focusing back on my elbow instead of on the guitar. So it's a D'Esperanto New York, 24 3/4 roughly inch scale. I've got 11 gauge strings on here, flat wounds. It's interesting with flat wounds how the strings go dead no matter if you play them or not. I don't play this guitar, I haven't played it in quite a while, but that low E is already, they develop. They don't get corroded, like maybe if you had a round wound and threw it in the case and left it there a year, it might pick up some moisture or something. They don't get corroded, they just go dead. Oh, can't go too much there. They just kind of have a dead, you put a new one on there and it sounds really good, but you can't buy individual flat wound strings anymore, at least not around where I'm at, because there's just, in the old days, you used to be able to go in and buy one string of any type you wanted and just about any gauge, and those days are over. So you got to buy a whole set, pretty much. The A string will go out a little bit too, but not nearly so bad. So that's a D'Esperanta, imported. Oh, made by Peerless. Did I say that? I want to add that in there. All the people that are in the blogs suggest, most of them suggest it's made by Peerless. There's one or two suggesting it was made elsewhere, but I think one guy in the blog who kind of identified who the doctor was verified it was made by Peerless Guitar. If you don't know Peerless guitars, I mean, these are no longer made. If you want one of these brand new, you can look up Doc Dosco, and I think there's another site back east. There's a guy, Doc Dosco in LA, maybe. I don't know if he's still dealing them or not. And Guitars and Jazz, I don't know. They have a site, a YouTube channel, and they have a website. And buy a Peerless, I don't know what model would match this. This is called the New York, so I'm guessing the Peerless version might be called the New York or New Yorker or something like that. And everything I hear is that they're still just brilliant guitars. They used to make guitars for Epiphone and other companies, and they finally decided they just wanted to make their own guitars, so they only make their own. You know, this was an example. They made them for this guy. and now they only make them for themselves. And my understanding is they're really quite nice. They range from laminates like this at a fairly affordable price to solid tops that are quite a bit more, somewhat more. They're still well within. If you look at other solid tops, they cost quite a bit more. So if you look at the Peerless solid tops, you're still getting a good deal, from what I can tell. So that's it for me with a imported D-Esperanta or D-Esperanto made by Peerless. So feel free to subscribe down below. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. Just remember, I'm not a real jazz guitarist. I only play one on YouTube. I do jazzy sort of things, but I'm not well studied in jazz at all. So kind of a Pat Metheny kind of thing going there. Talk to you later. Good night and good luck, as I always say. I stole that from Edward R. Murrow, but it's a worthy saying. Good night and good luck. Talk to you later. Bye.